With that, the staff recommends approval of the changes that you have before you.
Move for approval of ordinance 08-18.
Second.
Motion by Monica, second by Steve. Further discussion on this item?
Question to Jeannie. Jeannie, how tall is the sign for Ford in South 50, Highway 50? The Ford, for Uche Ford.
Which business?
Uche Ford.
Oh, Boucher Ford. They are non-conforming. That's a sign that has been there since, even before Nudie Suzuki, I think. That sign has been there for a number of years.
So,
And in fact, my understanding is that I thought that sign was going to be coming down and they were going to be doing a brand new sign. I think it's bagged right now, with Boucher Ford. But that's a tower sign. We don't even allow tower signs in the village any longer.
they were complaining about that sign, that's all. Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions?
Gene 194, the Abbott development area, a lot of full rollout, a lot of little businesses, things like that, would it be banks, hotels? Will this be a problem for them?
I'm not sure which area that you're referring to, but where the Walgreens is located and down on where Chancery and Radisson are located, where the CDA property is located, those are all located within PUDs or PD districts proposed, and so greater flexibility can be introduced. Again, we do have some very specific guidelines on freeway-oriented signs and who's allowed to have them, who's not. But we have allowed in the past, at least on hotels, that wall signage can be up a little higher, but we've not allowed them to have individual freeway-oriented signs.
Thank you. Mike?
That brings to mind, Gene, the Abbott 8, it's very high up in Abbott Park.
100 feet high,
Oh, you know about it,
I do.
not allowed here.
We
Is that
did,
considered
we
a
did
sign?
write a special exception in the plan development. Remember, they have a PDD, they have a brand new ordinance, and they are allowed to have one sign that is, if they choose it to be their Abbott A, some other type of logo, whatever they like to have, they have the option.
Okay.
So they have a special provision in their PDD for it.
No further comments or questions? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. That brings us to item H, as consider the request of Doug Stein for DTS Ventures for the property generally located east of 63rd Avenue, north of State Highway 165. This is for a one-year extension for the approval of final plat, engineering plans, development agreement, and related documents for the first stage of the Clark Kensington development. This is including 36 single-family lots and 3 outlots.
Mr. President, members of the board, the staff has received a request from Douglas Stonick of DTS Ventures Inc. for a one-year extension to satisfy the conditions of the final plat approval that was originally considered by the Village Plan Commission on September 24th, 2007, and it was approved by them subject to a number of comments and conditions to be satisfied. In addition, the final plat, engineering plans, and related documents are subject to any other ordinance changes or amendments that may come to this board between now and March of 2009. In my conversations with Mr. Stonick, it has been very difficult at this point in time for lots to be sold, single-family lots in particular, and he feels that this is not the right time to bring a new subdivision into the market, and would like to have an extension of up to 1 year in order to move forward with this final plat. Mr. Stonick is in the audience if you have any questions for him.
Doug, I certainly hope in a year you can get this thing going. I know other developers are experiencing the same thing you are, and it's just not a good scenario right now in the country. With that, I move approval of the one-year extension.
Second.
Motion by Mike, second by Clyde. Any further discussion on this item? Hearing none, those in favor? Opposed? So carried. For this item I, that will consider chapter X of the housing element. This is the multi-jurisdictional comprehensive plan for Kenosha County.
Mr. President, members of the board, this is another chapter, chapter 10 housing element for the multi-jurisdictional comprehensive plan for Kenosha County. The housing element is one of the 9 elements as required as part of that comprehensive plan. The housing element is used in this chapter to assess the age, structure, condition, value, occupancy characteristics of existing housing stock in the county and participating local governments. In addition, this chapter sets forth specific policies and programs that need to be identified which promote the development of housing for residents of the county and provide a range of housing choices, promotes the availability of land for the development or redevelopment of affordable housing, maintain or rehabilitate existing housing stock. The chapter is broken down into 4 different parts. The first is the inventory, the second is the description of government programs, the third part is information on community policies and ordinances affecting housing, and part 4 sets forth housing goals and objectives of the plan design year of 2035. Part 1, inventory. The characteristics of the existing housing stock in the county, an inventory to determine the number and type of housing units that will best suit the needs of the county residents. There's a good listing here that identifies the existing housing stock inventory. What I do want to bring to your attention is the fact that most of the information in this particular chapter is from the year 2000, which is, I believe, a little problematic, but it's the best available data that we have from a census. There's some information with respect to housing conditions and total housing units. Those types of things will help us to facilitate a projection forward into what we have and what we're going to have. But again, we're almost 8 years out from what the original census had shown us, so we will have to make some assumptions as we move forward, and so we'll sort of back. There's a number of tables, one of which talks about the housing units, tenure, again, information is from year 2000, but we are looking at different things and projecting it forward as we look at housing unit vacancy rates and rental vacancy rates as well. Chapter has a table that talks about values for owner-occupied housing. As you can see, for Pleasant Prairie, it says the average value is $159,000 plus. So again, having that be almost 8 years old, it's a little bit low, but again, we will work with the numbers we have and the project numbers that we're putting together to project ahead. That goes into median monthly cost, what it costs to rent in a community as well as the county, what does it cost to have mortgage, what the mortgages ranges are, and what percentage of your income you're paying for housing costs. And what they have determined is that up to 30% of people's income is being used for payment of rental or for mortgages for housing. And as those costs continue to go up for housing, we need to recognize that there could be some issues as the population continues to age, that they may not be able to afford housing within our community or other communities within Kenosha County. And this talks about monthly gross rent within Pleasant Prairie and other communities. Something else that they are examining is the structure type and the year that it was built. Obviously, the older the housing stock, the more you will need to design programs to look at housing codes and rehabilitation of existing housing. I mean, we have a relatively newer community with respect to a lot of newer housing, but again, the quality of the housing that is being built will help to determine how long that housing stock is actually going to last into the future. Our village assessor works in Pleasant Prairie and a number of communities in Kenosha County, and he has come up with ratings of the value of the housing units, and 74.9% of the housing units in the village are good or very good, excellent condition. 24.6% are rated as average or fair, and just 0.5% have a poor or very poor condition in our community. The other thing that they want us to look at is housing demand, and housing demand inventory items are listed on the screen there, and they go into some detail with respect to all these different aspects of factors that determine housing demand.
And they thought it'd be worthwhile to do a specific update on demand. I mean, the real estate market in 2000 is vastly different from the market of 2008. So I know that they want to rely on the data set they have, to look prospectively ahead for housing based on